Okay, welcome everybody again to this week's Texas Roadhouse press conference. We've got a busy homecoming week coming up on campus this week for the Falcons. Tomorrow, volleyball is the one lone road game this week. They go on the road to Lubbock to play Lubbock Christian in non-conference action. Wednesday night is the weekly Coach Kerrigan show on Rock 95.1. That'll be from 6 to 7 at Lynx Bar and Grill. Thursday night starts 4 straight days of home events. Men's soccer will be at home at 7 o'clock against Rogers State. Friday we've got a doubleheader. Volleyball is home against Texas Kingsville at 6 o'clock, while women's soccer plays Texas Women's at 7 o'clock. Saturday is the men's and women's swimming and diving alumni weekend at 11 o'clock at the UTPB pool. At 1 o'clock, men's soccer plays Newman out at the turf field. And at 6 o'clock is the homecoming game for football against Humboldt State at 6 o'clock at Roadhouse Stadium. And then women's soccer plays Texas A&M Commerce at 1 o'clock back at the turf field. And then later that night, we've got something called Falcon Madness that I'd like to invite head coach Josh Newman to talk about, and then you're free to ask him questions about his fall so far.
As Ryan mentioned, we have Falcon Madness. It's actually the very first inaugural year or event for men and women's basketball. They've never done this before. It's kind of basically the tip-off of the basketball season. We are 1 week away from today for our men and women's basketball team to start official practice. So we're almost officially on the clock. And before we do that, we wanted to have a really good event, fun event for not only our kids, but for the community, that they could come out and be a part of something. It's totally free. It's 7 o'clock on Sunday. At the Falcon Gym, and like you said, it's going to be an event that's going to tip off the basketball season. You'll have cheer there, you'll have dance there, the band. It should actually be a very fun event that I think a lot of the students and hopefully the community want to be a part of.
One of those events ends up being a three-point contest. Going by your assistant's office, I noticed on the wall you required a license from your players to participate in this three-point contest. Can you go a little bit into detail?
Yes, it's not for the Falcon Madness. It's actually for practice. We do require our kids to get a three-point license. And long story short, they have to make a shooting drill. They have to make 35 out of 50 threes from certain spots on the floor, and they have to make that 5 times. If they don't make that, they do not get to shoot the 3 during practice. So basically, long story short, it requires them to get in the gym on their own. It creates a competitive spark amongst all of them because somebody wants to be the one to get the most license. And whoever has the top 4 licenses actually participates in the three-point shooting contest. So it might not be the best shooter, it might be the young man that spent the most time in the gym that worked the hardest. And so whoever shoots in the three-point contest on Sunday will actually be the top recipients of the three-point license. But if they don't get their license before October 15th, they are not allowed to shoot a 3 during practice. And if they do, it's going to be a very long afternoon for them.
When did you start implementing that system? Is there any coaching influences that you kind of picked their brains on from that?
Well, I wouldn't say coaching influence. One of the best players in the NBA is Damian Lillard. He is a tremendous player. He's got a tremendous work ethic. And we looked at some of the things that not only he does, but other really talented players. And he does this shooting drill. So we decided 3 years ago to implement this. And it's been a lot of fun, honestly. You know, in the past we've had their picture, like basically a driver's license. We put it up where it's posted so they all can kind of see who's doing what, how competitive they want to be, when are they getting in the gym. But basically it comes from Damian Lillard's shooting drill, and it's very difficult. Guys will probably do it 20 to 35 times to get 5 makes. Making 35 out of 53s in game type situation is not easy.
Another one of your implementations was the implementation of the student coaching or student assistant type role. What was your main reason behind implementing that, as you're one of the first teams to actually call for a public input or public tryout, if you will?
Well, we needed help. You know, like most athletic programs, the more help you can get, the better you're going to be. And so we actually reached out to any student here on campus that wanted to get involved with men's basketball and be a manager. We just basically started trying to recruit people that are interested. I'm a long-time manager. My first job in this business was being a manager at Arizona State. I walked in Arizona State and I said, I want to be a part of the team. And what do they have me do? Wash towels. Hey, whatever it takes. And from that day, I started to basically develop my philosophy, develop my foundation to be a college basketball coach. So we want to give back. A lot of really good coaches started out as managers because they're eager, they're hungry, they're willing to learn, and we want to invite them to be a part of our program because I think they're obviously very helpful as well.
Go ahead.
As far as the team right now, how are you feeling, going into the season?
Well, I feel like we're not ready, to be honest with you. Right now we're limited on what we can do. We're allowed 2 hours with a ball per week. That's not very much. So I'm chomping at the bit because 1 week from today, we officially get to practice. And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, my guys are working hard. They're doing the things that we're asking them to do. But we've got a long way to go. With 12 new guys and new coaches, there's a lot of newness that goes on. Every drill that we actually teach is a new drill. Everything we do is new. And it's kind of, it's going to be a chore. It's going to be a daunting task to teach them all the things with the lack of experience that they have. But we're looking forward to it. We're ready to get started a week from today.
And you mentioned 12 new guys. Obviously you got hired middle of the summer, and what was it? I think like a month and a half that you had to recruit. How hectic was that process?
Well, not only was it hectic, people don't realize that we signed 12 student athletes here, and at my last job at Fort Smith, we signed 7. So Coach Kerrigan and his staff probably signed big classes every year. This was a 19 signee class for us, which is unheard of in men's basketball. 7 back at the old school and 12 here. I don't want to go through that again, to be honest with you. It's just a lot of talking, getting on the phone, developing relationships, trying to see which guys fit to our program, who's left out there that's looking for the right place. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the guys that we got. They fit our culture. Obviously, we don't know how good a basketball team we're going to be yet, but I'm excited about the guys that are here with us.
What was it like for you? I know you weren't here last year, but to see Deshaun get the kind of chance that he's going to get with the Iowa Wolves. What do you feel like that does just for the players that are on your team now, the program at large?
Sure. Well, I'm always cheering for D2 guys. So many people, be it coaches, AU coaches, even parents, they don't realize how good of basketball and how good of sports in general and how good these athletes are at Division II level. They don't really understand that. And so I'm always cheering for guys to put the time in, put the effort in, and are talented and gifted. And those guys will get rewarded. We tell kids all the time, it's about the fit. It's about the fit, where you go, what you can do. Obviously, Deshaun representing UTB is fantastic. Having a chance to play in the best league in the country, hopefully one day, is a great story. I actually had one of my former guys that played for me in Arkansas. He just signed a professional contract with the team in Lithuania. He is the 19th pro that I've had in 12 years. So Division II players can absolutely be successful at the next level if it's the right fit. And that's something that we tell all of our recruits. It's not about the level, Division I, Division II, it's about the right fit. Where can you go, be successful, showcase your abilities, and most importantly, be successful and win.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Coach.
Okay, next up is head football coach Justin Kerrigan.
Turning for us.
I don't know.
You got out to a really good start in the first quarter or the first half. If you look at it, other than a few special team errors, you guys could have been up 21-7. What was clicking for you in the first half of that game?
Most everything. We were able to establish the run, and that helped us be able to get the ball down the field in some big plays. Everything was working well. And like you said, the two special teams errors are costly. And then you kind of put that into perspective at the end of the game. Could be looking at 28-21. I think the second half goes a little bit different if we go in at halftime up 21-7. But we didn't. That's how it goes. We got to be able to overcome some of those setbacks. We weren't able to do it.
And then with the second half, you got Cam score right before going into halftime. Felt like the momentum might have been in y'all's favor, and then 42 total yards of offense. As a coach, what did you see was the problem?
We weren't able to establish the run. And then at that point, probably started forcing the throws a little bit too much and trying to get the ball down the field as they started to separate a little bit within the score and not being able to run. As a play caller, started to force a little bit, and the inability to run the ball in the second half, I think, is what cost us.
Coming back home now, how important is getting the W this week?
It's important to get the W every week.
just as far as Taylor's performance goes, I know 12 to 28 probably not the numbers you'd like to see, but he did throw close to 200 yards on just the 12 completions. How did you like where he was just in terms of striking the balance between not trying to rule out the big play and trying to get those big plays, because that did give you guys some energy, but also maybe some more consistent plays at times?
Well, I think the big plays were all on me, not him making those throws. Me forcing it, trying to call the big plays, as opposed to maybe just the easy dink and dunk passes. I thought they did a good job of eliminating some of that kind of stuff. Taylor, I thought, played really well. If you're going to throw the ball down the field a whole bunch, you're not going to have a tremendous completion percentage, not consistently. Most coaches will refer to those as 50-50 balls, when you put it up down the sideline. Again, I probably forced that a little too much. I thought with the way they played, they did a good job of keeping everything in front of them. But with our speed, we were able to get behind them. We just didn't connect enough. We needed to hit 1 or 2 of those in the second half, and that would have kept us in the game. But again, some of that comes just from our inability to run the football. I'm excited about where Taylor's at and where he's going to go as our quarterback. I think those numbers are more of a reflection on the game calling that I had in the second half of trying to push the ball down the field.
As far as Humboldt State coming into town this week, what are some of the things that, as a coach, y'all are scheming or planning to, prepare for that game?
We're going to get a similar defense to what we just saw, as far as the defensive front, coverages, things like that. A lot of similarities. Again, I think the big emphasis for us offensively is trying to establish the run, get a little bit more consistent at that, and then kind of the passing game unfold just as whatever coverages we're getting and where Taylor sees the ball needs to go. That kind of stuff you can't really force too much, but big key for us is establishing the run.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, next up is freshman running back, Leroy Giles.
I'm good.
When you've touched the ball this season, it seems like you've been pretty explosive. I believe you're averaging over 5.5 yards a carry. What are you doing to do so well?
Just playing my role when my time comes. What I do, I feel like what the coaches emphasize a lot is what you rep in practice is what you'll do in the game. So just doing that in practice, working hard and being consistent at that, it shows up in the game.
So Coach mentioned, about kind of establishing the run a little bit better. What do you see, in the backfield that you guys can be doing differently to kind of get that going?
I believe if we're just playing our role correctly, like playing, when our number is called, stepping up and playing it well and executing it. Once that happens, I believe we'll be a lot more efficient.
You guys are back home this week. Are you happy to be back at Ratliff?
Of course, always. I love the community out here. They give us, motivation to play even harder. It's just the atmosphere. I love it. It's always wonderful.
For homecoming coming up, what are you thinking about? There's gonna be distractions obviously off the field. How are you guys trying to stay focused going forward?
I believe there's no distractions. It's just staying focused, and that's the key to everything. Just making sure that we're on time. Like the little things we do, make sure that we pay attention to that stuff, and then when it comes to game time, just execute.
Cool. Thanks, man.